You know why that goes off to the side? Because we have grueling work to do here. This is not a place of fun. This is not a place of enjoyment. This is a place of grueling taskmaster slave driving D&D. Where we do it because we think other people will think of us as being cool and for no other reason. Apparently I have some sniffles. What kind of pizza? Oh, what kind of salsa? I didn't have salsa tonight, Shukan. I had pizza. We are cool. We're cool because we put in the work that needs to be done. Work before play. By the way, if any of you are new here and you're lurking, I'm being very sarcastic. Don't run. Pardon me. Play before work, which I like, says O'Sheeps. D&D is fun work. Well, I hope so, Tackler. Well then, for all of you, we're getting in on the ground floor of our final officer. There's only one choice left. This is going to be the ship's cook. And so, you know what? Even before we roll anything... Bada boom. Shukan's rooting for a kobold. However, Fallon is saying a tabaxi is fine too. Let's find out, shall we? O'Sheeps wants a gnome. I'm going to roll a percentile set, and we're going to find out, do we have a female character, a male character, or a multi-class character, in which case we're going to roll again. $74. We have a male character. Our male character, then, I'm going to generate a 35-sided die. And we're going to find out which race. So, if someone wants a kobold, you want number 23. Let's see. I mean, find your number. We have a Asamar are 2. Kenku is 22. And Tabaxis are 29. Goliath? Now, if you're rooting for a Goliath, then a Goliath is going to be number 16. Potato. All right, let's roll it. 35-sided die. Number 1. We have an Aarakocra. So, not quite an Asamar, but we do have a winged race. Yes, Aarakocra are kind of like eagle people. So we have a male Aarakocra. Kind of like Kenku, but they can fly. Alrighty, so we have an Aarakocra. Which supplement are they out of? Elemental? Yes, Elemental Evil. Got it. Alright. So we have a male Aarakocra, who is of the alignment. Not Chaotic Evil. We rolled a 47. Another true neutral. We have our second... So we have 2 very zen people. 3 Chaotic Evil, and then I think our other one was Chaotic Good. True neutral. And we're going to generate him at level... We rolled a 74. A level 15 character. That means we would get ability score improvements at 4, 8, 12, and 16, but we're not quite there. So we get 3. I'm going to roll a percentile set, and we're going to see if we replace any of those with feats. We are taking all ability score improvements. Now, for the background, we are going to roll an 18-sided die for the background, and we're using Player's Handbook because our first 4 characters use the new 4 backgrounds offered in Saltmarsh. For our remaining 2 officers, we are going to take the original backgrounds, and we are going to give them the Saltmarsh flavor that is described in that supplement. 12. Ah, a noble knight. Alrighty. My vote is we're going to roll noble. Yeah, tackler. Yeah, yo, called it. Strong chef boy, says Zess. And we'll see just how strong our character is. It's now time to roll the D12. If you have predictions, I guess you can lock them in now. We're going to roll D12 for the class. And then based on the class, we're going to roll an appropriate other die for the subclass. Yeah, you called Gloomstalker on Vivian. You are absolutely correct, Tackler. So I'm seeing 2 monks, a warlock, and a paladin. Well, we're not multi-classing, so he's not a monk and druid. Oh, Sheeps is feeling monk in her bones? Yes, alignment doesn't matter for paladinhood, Tackler. All right, I see a bunch of guesses, and you know what's going to determine that? Our golden D12 right here, everyone. So if you're ready. Bum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum. Bum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum. Bum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum. Bum, 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 ba-da-dum, bum. 11. Warlock. Tackler gets the Warlock. Wow, Tackler 2 for 2. Nice. Second best class, claims Zess. The intuition is strong with Tackler. Which patron? Let's figure that out. So Warlocks, if we open up all of the printed material here, Warlocks have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pacts, or patrons, I should say. There's still 3 pacts. There are 6 patrons. Let's roll a d6 and find out, shall we? Tackler, Tackler's wants to get in a Hexblade. If I'm missing something, then Shukan, then let me know so I can add it to the roller. So I see someone wants a Hexblade, someone wants Undying, Archfey, Celestial. Well, someone's almost guaranteed to get it right then amongst all the different guesses. So someone will get the claim to fame. Can anyone stop Tackler from being correct? Oh, we have 2 now pulling for Archfey. Fallon and Zess. We shall see, shall we not? 4. Archfey, Celestial Fiend, Great Old One. Oh, it was one no one guessed. But of course, who'd guess it was the Great Old One? That's so meta. All right, so we have a Gulak, everyone. Now, we have a class feature here. We're gonna roll the Pact. Let's generate a 3-sided die. I mean, I'll wait a second if anyone wants to lock in what you think it'll be. Seeing 2 tomes. All right, here we go. Hey, Diadems, welcome. Here we go. I'm gonna hit the button. I'm gonna do it. Because Seeker wasn't on there? Which supplement is Seeker from, Shukan? And 1. A Blade Lock. So we have a Goo Blade. This does not have Unearthed Arcana, Shukan. This is only officially printed stuff. Yeah. Pardon me. All right, so we have a Goo Blade Aarakocra Cook. Doggone it. Now, let's find the Aarakocra. Here we go. And now I'm going to roll a percentile to find out where in his life cycle he is. We rolled a 28. We have another young adult. My goodness, we definitely have we have like a Tom Sawyer on their pirate island crew here. So we have a young adult who is going to be 23 plus 1d12 months. By the way, Aarakocra don't exactly live that long. You know, an ancient Aarakocra is 30. A venerable Aarakocra is 24 to 29. So we have 23 plus 1d12 months. Because they mature quickly, Tackler. So a child prodigy would be effectively 1 to 2 years old. It's kind of like with Dragonborn. Dragonborn, as actually we discovered with the last character, we went back and reviewed it. They're walking out of the egg at a couple hours. And they are the size and mental capability and physical capability of like a fully grown child at 2. So we rolled a 7-year-old Dragonborn, and so she was kind of like, I don't know, low to mid-teens, like 13 to 15 and equivalent. Yeah, I'm sorry, it changes from months to years. Yes. So our young adult is 31 months old. Now, that being said, their base height is 4'6". And, you know, we have a young adult, probably, we could probably do what we did before and just give this a slight modification that instead of rolling a height modifier of 2d6, because it's not an adult just yet, we'll take 4'6", and I'll roll a d6 this time. If it's 1 or 2, then we'll lose those inches. If it's 3, we'll stay at 4'6", and then 4, 5, 6 will add up to 3 inches to his height. 4. So he's 4'7". Could look a dwarf in the eyes, pretty much. And we're gonna have the weight modifier be a D4. So we're adding 4 pounds. He's 94 pounds at 4'7". And he's just a little over 2 years old. He's coming up on his third birthday. And you know what that means? He's an adult at 3. All right, adult starts at 3. So he's young. He has to prove himself. He's been living for over 2 years now. Clearly, as a young adult, he knows everything. In fact, he might be painfully aware of his natural short lifespan, in which case that could motivate him to want to be a cook, to explore different islands, to travel and meet as many people as he can, or to eat as many things as he can, because he doesn't have a lot of time left. But before I jump there, let's find out what his personality is going to be like. Yeah, a regular Emerald Lagasse at 31 months old. Ah! Caca! Alright, so there's our Char Actor. Now we're going to explore. This is going to be very interesting. We're going to explore his background first, as I suggest that you all do as you're building your character. You don't have to, but, you know, whatevers. Whoop. There we go. So this is going to be based off of Noble. So we're using the Noble charts, except we have Knight here. And when we're building the personality, we can also, let's choose, do we want to give him position of privilege or retainers? And we'll see where this goes. All right, we are going to need, actually, no, there's no special noble stuff here. We're going to need 2d8 and then 3d6. 4, 1, 5, 6, 6. 4, 1, 5, 6, 6. There's our placeholders. Being a noble / knight, we are going to know history. I'm going to scoot this over just a bit here. We're going to know history and persuasion. We're going to be proficient in some kind of a gaming set. That could be dice, chess, a board game, something along those lines. A gaming set. Let's see. We're going to get a language of our choice. So I'm going to indicate that with just some question marks so we know that we get something there. The bird is good at medieval Monopoly. Equipment. We are going to get some fine clothes. Of course, custom tailored for our wings. A signet ring. A scroll of pedigree to show our lineage or our sort of our charter, or that we have become a knight in this case. And a purse containing 25 gold pieces. Who would have a common leather belt pouch? He has a finely embroidered satin pouch. I'm not going to worry about the feature just yet from his background, because I think that as we're telling his story, that will become apparent to us. But he can either have position of privilege, which allows him as an individual to hobnob with the snobs, or he can take retainers, which means that he has people following him around and can help in various tasks. The royal crest would be kind of like a signet ring, or even the scroll of pedigree. Retainers could be helping him in the kitchen. That is true, Tackler. Before I get into what the player's handbook gives us, if we go back to the Ghosts of Saltmarsh here, and let's go to the backgrounds. There is a particular prompt for nobles in the Saltmarsh campaign, as well as a noble origin. And so why don't we explore that? Right? The folk of Saltmarsh care little for nobles and their titles. Although the king technically rules the land, the south has long been left to its own devices. Are you a local noble returning to a life of adventure, or did you come here in search of fame and fortune? Regardless of your origin, your position of privilege feature Allows you to request an audience with any official in town, including members of the town council. They typically take 1d6 plus 1 days to fulfill such a request. The table below includes suggestions for how you came to arrive in Saltmarsh. Now, we can easily take this as a prompt if we go retainers. So in this, with this case, because we're not necessarily building something in Saltmarsh. I mean, we could, but I'm not aiming for that. Position of privilege, boom. You are guaranteed audience with someone of import in the town. If we want to go retainers, that could very well mean that we are more efficient at loading or unloading cargo or making deals, or we can complete shopping or scouting or other activities more quickly when we're in a town, because our retainers are on our authority, and they'll go out and we're presuming that they're competent. And I think that would be a fair way to not just mean that only position of privilege can work, but you can give your retainers a kind of a nautical effect. Or retainers might not be good in town like position of privilege, but retainers might actually be very competent crew members that will follow. They're going to follow the captain, but you know that they're going to be loyal to you as well. They move at the speed of smell. Well, in all honesty, though, Tackler, I mean, what if the mayor is out of town, and is going to explore the countryside? That's a day out and a day back. Or people are coming and going here and there, could be out to sea and waiting for people to come back. Or they have a busy day. I mean, Saltmarsh isn't just, a hamlet of, 100 people. Grab me the Gouda. By the way, that reminds me. Have any of you ever played Sheriff of Nottingham? I would highly suggest it if you haven't. Sheriff of Nottingham, it's over my shoulder here. Sheriff of Nottingham is a great game. All right, so what is our origin, our Saltmarsh origin here? Let's roll 1d6 and find out. We rolled a 1. And what does that mean? I'll tell you in a moment. Actually, I'll just put this... Our origin. Hey, Shoop TV! Welcome! Well, unless you're in ad purgatory, in which case I'll wait for you to say something first. I don't want to hop to it too quickly and go through the yeah and everything and hype, and everyone's still getting through like a full 30-second ad or something along those lines. You were sent here by King Scotty himself. You are expected to keep your ties to the crown secret, the better to gain a clear insight into the region. If folks know that you represent the king, they'll put their best faces forward and hide the issues you've been sent to uncover. Above all else, the king fears the emergence of a secretive group called the Scarlet Brotherhood. Learn about their dealings here if you can. So this is very specific. Shoop, are you there? I think it's been 30 seconds. I wanted to make sure you could bleed. Hey, there we go. You could bleed out any ads, ads you fell into. I can speak common, I swear. Raid. Yes, welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for the raid, Shoop. I hope you're having fun over at your channel. What were you up to? So, sent here on a secret mission to observe any suspicious activity. That's pretty broad, because the Saltmarsh is specific to this as a setting. So this is a good takeaway from it, that we're not trying to tell people that we're a knight sent on important business. Of course, that'll be interesting to kind of hide, though. We come in with a retinue and we're carrying ourselves as we will. Thieves can't at best. Playing some Raid Shadow Legends? Ah. A mobile... So, yeah, how have you been playing... Like, I've heard it's a mobile game, but can you play that on computer? Or do you have, like, is your phone kind of broadcasting it? How does that work? Finish another character? I'm pretty pleased with it, too. Well, Felon, if you want to share it or can, because I don't want you to violate any sort of, if it's a commission, I don't want you to violate your commissionee. relationship, but you're welcome to share. All right, so we're here secretly to observe suspicious activity. We definitely have some suspicious folks. All right, we're not going to need Xanathar's guide for this. We're going to go back to the player's handbook, and our personality traits are 4 and 1. Shoop says, I'm using an emulator called BlueStacks. It allows you to play Android apps. Oh, very cool. Does it look good on PC? Or does it, like, I don't know, do you have to, like, keep things small? Or can it stretch out and it still looks good? Oh, cool. Well, we've been doing some character creation here. Right now we're making a ship's cook who's a bird person who's secretly a knight sent to investigate anything weird going on. I have heard of Fallout Shelter as well. Personality traits 4. I take great pains to always look my best and follow the latest fashions. So here we have a chef aboard this ship of misfits who, has the fancy stripes, different chef hats and everything. And personality trait number 1, my eloquent flattery makes everyone I talk to feel like the most wonderful and important person in the world. So we have a mommy-daddy role, except our male Aarakocra is mommy, and our little, kind of equivalent 13-year-old Dragonborn is the harsh-speaking, no-nonsense, blunt dad character amongst the crew if they're going to get in trouble. Yeah, it does, Tackler. Our ideals. Number 5. Family. Blood runs thicker than water. Well, we're sailing on the seas. So we definitely have a connection to the rest of our family. Is our family other Aarakocra? Other bird folk? Were we adopted? And our family is not Aarakocra, but family? Is family the royal or some other, like our brothers in our knighthood? Is that our family? To whom are we loyal? All right, Shoop, thank you so much for the raid. Be well, I'll see you around. Our bond is number 6. The common folk must see me as a hero of the people. We have such an interesting, stylish, pretentious cook who'll probably be insistent on being a chef. Or something, or some more flourished title. Connoisseur. A gourmand. There you go, a gourmand. And his flaw... What? How can a character like this have a flaw? Come on. It's number 6. By my words and actions, I often bring shame to my family. So we're like, our ideal, we want to serve our family, but we can't help but bungle it. Yeah, Warlock to a great old one. Wouldn't that be something? If the family, is the patron and the minions of the patron, and here you have a chef coming aboard with some very nefarious looking people who all look kind of fishy, but he insists that this is his kitchen crew. And if you want his cuisine, you got to bring him on board. And so we actually have like the Warlock and some servants given to our Warlock by his patron to prepare your food. I'd love to share. I just had to upload it. This is sysadmin who keeps the Yggdrasil network up and running. Well, thank you for sharing, fella, and I'll take a peek at it here in just a little bit. I'm very humbled that you are willing to share your creations. I'd rather not eat tentacle soup for the next 16 days. Yeah, I don't know. I just have this fun kind of like sketchy. You have this very noble bird, very pretentious, wears amazing like chef clothing, and just these three like sous chefs that are wearing very full uniforms that kind of like cover their faces and you know, very large hats and things to to show that the minions to the Great Old One here that are through the agent of our Aarakocra chef. That would be very, I don't know, that'd be kind of fun. Of course, Fallon, I look, this is a workshop of inspiration. And all the things that you do and others in all of your different styles, you know, I don't look for realistic art. I don't look for anime art. I don't look for abstract art. I look for what you're expressing. And I'll dig it. You could only have been starting to sketch with pencil and lined paper for the last 3 months. I'm happy you shared it. And not in the, you know, mom and dad have to give me a sticker on the refrigerator or whatever sort of way. You took the time to create something. And not only that, you wanted to share it. Whether or not you're content with the final product, or you're absolutely proud of it, or somewhere in between, or you say, I'm trying something new here. What do you all, you know, what do you think about what I'm going for? And of course, provide what you're going for. Because if you just put a piece of art in front of someone and say, what do you think? It could be excellent in exactly what you needed to do, but because you didn't express that, the other person could say, I don't know, it looks kind of bland. But I was going for bland. I was supposed to paint the blandest thing ever. Oh, well then 100%. We have Elithid sous chefs. I rolled up a human fighter gladiator to run my one-shot I'm playing in. He wields a great axe with the handle being a tail up to the dual blades. Looking like the wings of a dragon. Okay. He has 2 hand axes that have dragon heads with the blades being fire-breathing from the dragon's mouths. That is a cool set of details, Tackler. I love that. And you know what? Interestingly enough, as I just realized, yeah, we're Cultist of Cthulhu here. Our patron who's knighted us, of course, because we are a blade lock, so why wouldn't we be a knight? Sent us on a secret mission to observe suspicious activity. The cult is sending us to observe suspicious activity. But of course, there's other rival patrons as well as just, you know, people who might interfere, or just to get a glance at what the world is doing. Right? If you're a warlock, oftentimes you're the eyes and ears of your patron. And so even if you're not looking for anything in particular, you know, you might still have to file a report or, you know, attune to your patron. Which is something, I don't know, do a lot of you who play warlocks, do you either volunteer or does your DM ever have you check in with your patron through dreams or contacts or something? Like, did you ever sign, like, did your DM make a contract that you signed and understand as roleplay? Or, you know, is it just always a presence so that your patron sees through your senses? Because I think that's something that, you know, many people might forget, is that this is your job. You are working for this elder being, and, you know, slacking off in whatever goals that you're given to do could mean the revocation of your power, or worse. All right, your secret's safe with me, Tackler. It ended up not safe for this chat. Very awkward. Never happened again? For communicating with your patron, you mean? Oh, interaction with patron. Gotcha. Okay. All right. I think I get the idea, Shukan. And if that's the case, then your discretion is appreciated. I hope you as a person didn't feel put out at the table, though. All right, you know what? I think we definitely made the case that instead of taking position of privilege, we definitely have 3 retainers that are probably looking a little suspect. And if that's the case, we can, you know, actually we could probably generate them as NPCs or something in tomorrow's session, because I would like to make some NPCs using the contents and themes in Saltmarsh as well. All right, what is next? We have our background. We have an idea for our character here. I really wonder now what happened. Like, you know, he was hatched as this Aarakocra. How did our character find this great old one? Or is this a species that might have just been developed, right? If we have a great old one of the sea, you know, Cthulhu in, you know, the sunken city of Relay, and, you know, we associate a lot of nautical stuff with, you know, elder beasts, aboleths, krakens, you know, Cthulhu and the like. Are the Aarakocra in this setting, you know, a race that hasn't really been encountered before, maybe because they were custom created on an island to act as servants of the Great Old One. And so he was born into it. And of course, you know, he was told that he's serving a king, he's a knight, all this other stuff was, you know, put into his mind. And mind. And of course, you know, he's young, right? He's not even 3 years old, yet he can function as an adult. So when he was born, you know, did he get a wet willy of the damned from a tentacle in his ear? And that just sort of like programmed his brain with information about the kingdom and about his people and all of this other stuff. And so, you know, as agents of this great old one, they have a short lifespan. They're just meant to, you know, adapt. They're sent out, they can fly. They're sent out, they scout, they live a while. If they die, that's fine. Another generation of eggs is going to be laid or hatched somehow. But if they come back, they're bringing information. And so these other cultures that could be far removed from this birthing island might see Aarakocra as actually like heralds of a far-off kingdom. And everyone has this perception that this great old one has been, you know, putting out there of, you know, there's this fantastic place across the sea and all this other stuff, and we are heralds and messengers, and we want to trade and do all this other stuff, as well as get information or maybe even kind of secrete themselves into society, especially under the guise of being noble and being these, you know, these members of hot culture. Tackler says he was learning to fly, fell in the ocean, and saved by the old one. Fallon says ran into him at the bar. Hey, you know what? There's a reason why the old man at the end of the bar is always the person you should talk to if you need advice, because they know everything. It's almost superstitiously coincidental that every old man at the end of every bar knows life's secrets and solutions. There's a conspiracy, I'm telling you. So I mean, Fallon, that could be the case. Tackler, of course. You know, I'm not gonna just write on my own one. Let's come up with an idea together. But somehow, some way, some live, some die in the way of the samurai. If any of you know what anime that's from, then bonus points to you. So yeah, he met this great old one, learned how to use a blade, was knighted, and sent to our setting, and is now a part of our crew of misfits, who of course would accept him and the other crew, especially if they're willing to work for free. All right, what's next? We've finished our background. The role of cook. Let's go back to our appendix. Scroll down a bit. Fortunately, this appendix does not have to be removed. We're kind of relying on it, actually. Here we go. The ship's cook. Who'd suspect the cook? A ship's cook works with the limited ingredients aboard a ship to make meals. A skilled cook keeps the crew's morale in top shape, while a poor one drags down the entire crew's performance. A talented cook has a high constitution score, as well as proficiency with brewer supplies and cook's utensils. All right, so we're a high constitution class because of this. Again, my interpretation of how to apply officership, officerhood to a character. You can do it differently. That's fine. We are going to also get our cooking tools and brewer's supplies. You know what's interesting? Because he's a blade lock, he can just manifest whatever utensil he needs. This is actually a very interesting concept for a chef. He needs a you know, a particular knife. He needs a little fork. I mean, what's a fork but a mini trident? You know, does he need some other implement? Does he need a whisk? Zip, zip, zip. He can keep summoning it. So, brewer supplies, cooks utensils, and constitution. Iron Chef, says Ozzy. Alright. That... Oh, a whisk could be an improvised cat and nine. Hey, there you go, Shukan. Alrighty, what is next then? We're going to go to our race. So our race is in... I gotta find it. Here we go. The Elemental Evil Player's Companion. And here are the Aarakocra. We get Dex 2, Wisdom 1. Reach maturity by 3, etc. We already saw that. Our walking speed is 25 feet, giving us a 12 climb, 12 swim, or otherwise, we get a flying speed of 50 feet. You can't be wearing medium or heavy armor, so light armor is going to be our way forward. Talons, you are proficient with your unarmed strikes, which deal 1d4 slashing damage on a hit. These chickens do, in fact, have large talons. Language, we can read, write, and speak Common, Aarakocra, and Orin. Common, Aarakocra, Orin, and one other. Very talented. A Fallon. Shukan says get out. It would be strength unless you're a monk. Monks get to use dex with their martial arts. Otherwise, unarmed strikes are strength. And that's it. We do not have any dark vision. So again, feast or famine. Our crew either has no dark vision or can see out 120 feet in the dark. Now it is time to build 15 levels of Goo Blade. 15 levels of Goo Blade. I don't know the reference because I haven't played Skyrim, unfortunately, Shukan. We are only going to be concerned with this stuff, so not everything. We have a +5 proficiency. We are going to know 4 cantrips. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, it can. Our pact weapon can look like really whatever we want it to, because we just manifest whatever weapon we feel we need in a pinch. Let's see. We'll get to our spells now in a little bit. Our spell slots, we're gonna get three spell slots of 5th level, and that's it. Because warlocks are kind of weird like that. And our invocations. So here, I'm going to get rid of the racial stuff. We already have that. Invocations. So we have our... We have the one we got at level 2. Level 2. Level 5. Level 7. Because our invocations are kind of like our spells. They're static ones where they can open up uses. 9, 12, and 15. Ah, that's true. Could take Devil's Sight. That he gets to catch up then with everyone. Oh, that would just leave our Lizard Folk and our Loxodon, our 2 original crew members. Our only adults don't get to see what the kids are doing, what mischief they're getting up to in the dark. And we'll definitely be talking about his invocations and the ones that he's going to take based on his personality and his goals and all that. All right, we have proficiency with light armor, which is good, because that's all we can wear and still be able to fly. Weapons, simple weapons are our proficiency, as well as our Pact Blade. Even if it manifests as a greatsword, as long as it's our Pact Blade, we're going to be proficient with it. No tool proficiencies, wisdom and charisma are our saves. And then we need to choose 2 skills from Arcana, Deception, History, Intimidation, Investigation, Nature, and Religion. Right out the gate, given the fact he has this goal, he's sent here on a secret mission to observe any suspicious activity. Deception and investigate, because he's also trying to act like a chef, and that his 3 retainers, which might look suspiciously Piscean in their appearance, are normal people. So I don't know. Deception and investigation seem pretty good, right? He has this strong bond to his family, or his family. He looks his best to follow the latest fashions. My eloquent flattery makes everyone feel like the most wonderful, important. Well, flattery doesn't always have to be true. In this case, he's an interesting. He's interesting again compared to Camise that we just made. The common folk must see me as a hero of the people, especially if he's not. By my words and actions, I often bring shame to my family. So he tries to do the bidding of his deep overlord, and just keeps bumbling it, and I don't know, like helping people and planting flowers or something. I definitely think deception and an investigation are the way to go here. Light crossbow and bolts, any simple weapon. So I guess we'll take the crossbow. Since we can manifest melee weapons. I mean, we have our talons in a pinch, but we can also manifest any melee weapon we want. So, light crossbow. Quiver with 20 bolts. A scholar's pack. Oh, I'm sorry. Component pouch or an arcane. He's a chef. Of course he's going to have a component pouch. You carry all your ingredients with you. Scholar's pack or Dungeoneers, well, he's taking copious notes. And of course, his Scholar's pack lets him write down all the recipes he learns, too. He's then going to have leather armor, any simple weapon, and 2 daggers. What would be a simple weapon that he'd want to take, then? And he can manifest whatever he wants, really. If he's chopping food, probably a hand axe. Especially because you can also throw it. And you can throw it off strength, which is important. So he has a distance with dex, a distance-ish with strength, and one that can be dex or strength and kind of distanced. And we have melee strength. Yeah, like a meat cleaver. You can't let everyone see that you're manifesting all your tools magically. So he has his trusty meat cleaver. Exactly. In fact, we'll even put that here. Meat cleaver, hand axe. 1d8 plus, 1d4 plus, 1d4 plus. Trusty meat cleaver. I'm sure that meat cleaver has gotten him into and out of a lot of situations. Perfect for chopping things off of other things, right? Which only a chef would need to do. Clearly for no other purpose like hiding a body. You paint the lines, you cut the men. Paint the lines, cut the men. It's just that easy. Alright, so there's our equipment loadout. Otherworldly Patron, which we already have. We have our Great Old One. We know our Pact Magic, and we'll come back to that. We have our Invocations. We'll choose those in a little bit here. Our Pact Boon is that of the Blade. We already indicated that up above. You can use your action to create a Pact weapon or in your empty hand. You can choose the form of this melee weapon, or you can choose the form that this melee weapon takes each time you create it. You are proficient with it while you wield it. This weapon counts as magical for the purposes of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. Your packed weapon disappears if it's more than 5 feet away from you for 1 minute or more. It also disappears if you use this feature again. So forth and so on. I don't want to get into the minutia of that. I think we get the idea. And our ASIs, yeah, we're going to be taking that. Mystic Arcanum. Well, we're gonna fill that in on our spells. At 11th level, your patron bestows upon you a magical secret, call it an Arcanum, or an Arcanum if you want. Choose one 6th level spell from the Warlock spell list. You can cast your Arcanum spell once without expending a spell slot. You must finish a long rest before you can do so again. So we have Mystic Arcanum here. And then we're going to get, we're level 15. So we also are going to get one here. And we're also going to get one right here. Dun, 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 dun. And we're not an Eldritch Master yet. Aw, shucks. Otherworldly Patrons. Great Old One. Let's go to our archetype qualities here. We have an awakened mind. Starting at first level, your alien knowledge gives you the ability to touch the minds of other creatures. You can communicate telepathically with any creature you can see within 30 feet of you. You don't need to share a language with the creature for it to understand your telepathic utterances, but the creature must be able to understand at least one language. We also are going to get Entropic Ward. At 6th level, you learn to magically ward yourself against attack and to turn an enemy's failed strike into good luck for yourself. When a creature makes an attack roll against you, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on that roll. We also have a Thought Shield. Your thoughts can't be read... Oh, there we go, everyone. It's an official stream. If you got the cat butt emote, please share it in chat. Starting at 10th level, your thoughts can't be read by telepathy or any other means unless you allow it. You also have resistance to psychic damage, and whenever a creature deals psychic damage to you, that creature takes the same amount of damage that you do. Pardon. Resistant to psychic damage. Right up here. Yes, the cat butts. All the cat butts. And excellent. At 14th level, create Thrall. At 14th level, you gain the ability to infect a humanoid's mind with the alien magic of your patron. You can use your action to touch an incapacitated humanoid. That creature is then charmed by you until a remove curse spell is cast on it. The charmed condition is removed from it, or you use this feature again. You can communicate telepathically with the charmed creature as long as the two of you are on the same plane of existence. So we kind of can get a fourth retainer, or one of the other officers, if not a crew member, could be our thrall. And that could be an interesting bond between the two players playing characters. All right, so the only other thing that we have to do, I mean, besides the spells, the spells that we can take, what are his invocations? Remember, he was sent to observe and to be secret. He takes pains to look his best. And he has eloquent flattery. In that case, I almost wonder if we took beguiling influence that gives us those two skills, we could go back and that would allow us to take another skill in its place. So maybe instead of deception, he could take, let's see, he already has history. The common folks see me as a hero, so we have history. Maybe religion could be good then. So he can tell stories of various religions. And he could also be on the lookout for people who are acting in a deviant fashion to the local religion as a way to keep an eye on things. Gaston says Mask of Many Faces. Tackler says BI would be nice. What is BI? Oh, beguiling influence. Got it. So yes, if we do that, then perhaps we can switch out our deception into religion, unless it's something else. In that case, we can take beguiling, which will we already have we have persuasion already. Interesting. So we had persuasion from being a noble already. So in that case, we already kind of have it. So maybe we don't have to worry about it, and I'm just going to put this back from religion into deception. Because we already have deception and persuasion from just from our class and from our noble background. Now, I don't know, you might have a DM, and you can ask your DM this. Hey, if I already have proficiency and I take Beguiling Influence, would you allow me to have expertise in those 2 skills? And expertise is adding your proficiency modifier twice to a skill. Bards and rogues get that. But you know, that's I won't play by that because I'll throw it out there as a suggestion for you, but I won't play along those lines. So we already kind of have a Beguiling Influence already bred into us. You know, Beast Speech, I think, could be very good. We already have a bird person, if he allows himself to be seen as such. Beast Speech would be good. Devil's Sight was brought up. That could be a good one. I think there's one that's really good for a Blade Lock. Thirsting Blade. You can attack twice. He is a knight after all. We also had Mask of Many Faces. Yes, they can be swapped out like the sorcerer spells we were talking about before. But we're just giving a the final version, presuming that they were swapped around. Minions of Chaos seem pretty good, because he's, being a great old one, he already has the 3 retainers and a thrall. I think it'd be kind of fun if he summoned an elemental, especially to help out in the kitchen. Master of Myriad Forms could be a good one, too. So actually, if he took Master of Myriad Forms, then we could presume over the course of time that would have replaced Mask of Many Faces. So that could open up because we're taking Master of Myriad Forms. Let's see. Pact Life Drinker. When you hit a creature with your Pact weapon, the creature takes extra necrotic damage. I don't know if that's really a core part of who he is. Right? He's more of the, I'm very charismatic. I'm here to infiltrate and examine. I want to present myself very well. I want to create beautiful food. I'm a noble knight of far off lands. One of the NPC wizards forgot their spell book? In what sense, Shukan? Gaze of Two Minds could be really good. My goodness, this is definitely an agent, right? So he has his 3 retainers. He has his thrall. He can talk to animals and get information from them, especially if he feeds them food as the cook. And if we use Gaze of Two Minds, we can be looking through someone else's eyes at the same time. Whew. Eyes of the Runekeeper could be another good one as well. Or we have Armor of Shadows, which we can cast Mage Armor on ourselves. So You know, we don't even have to wear armor. We can wear this magic armor. That won't hinder our flying. Well, we have 2 left, so we could go Armor of Shadows and oh, and the one where you summon an elemental. That's what I was looking for. What level is that? That is that's 9th level. All right, so we have Minions of Chaos, and then at 12th level that was going to be oh heck, why did I already have Gaze of Two Minds, Minions of Chaos, and oh, armor. The armor. Some of these might have been rearranged, but I think we have a good list here. The party has a wizard, and they're planning on copying all the spells from it. Also, I need a ruling on this. If a warlock has the invocation, which lets them put rituals in it, loses their book, can the wizard copy all the spells, since the wizard can copy all the spells in a spell book? So what happens if they lose their book is gives you a grimoire, which is not a spell book, mind you. They call it a grimoire. It's also called the Book of Shadows. So bear that in mind. It is not a scroll, nor is it a spell book. And so in that regard, because they're specifically not calling it as such, if a wizard can copy out of a spell book or off of a scroll, they would not be able to copy out of a Pact of the Tome, because it is neither. While the book's on your person, you can cast the cantrips at will. They don't count against the number of cantrips known. If you lose the Book of Shadows, you can perform a 1-hour ceremony to receive a replacement from your patron. The ceremony can be performed during a short or long rest, and it destroys the previous book. The book turns to ash when you die. So unless you decide that you want a wizard to be able to copy out of this foreign, obscure, magical tome, by language, they cannot, because it is not a spell book. The tome is not called a spell book. So, it's really up to you, Shukan, right? If you take a look up here where it says Pact of the Tome, your Book of Shadows, so it doesn't say spell book, your Book of Shadows might be a fine, gilt-edged tome with spells of enchantment and illusion gifted to you by the lordly archfey. It could be a weighty tome bound in demon hide studded with iron, holding spells of conjuration and wealth of forbidden lore about the sinister regions of the cosmos, a gift of the fiend. Or it could be the tattered diary of a lunatic driven mad by contact with the Great Old One, holding scraps of spells that only you, there we go, that only your own burgeoning insanity allows you to understand and cast. So it's offering it as an option. I mean, I would wait towards you can't, because this magic is granted to you by a being that is not following the rules of magic as a wizard school lays it out. But especially when you read this entry, it's showing that your spell book can just be, you know, almost effectively like a ransom letter with a bunch of cutout letters that make all sorts of jumbles and red string connecting things. And that's how you cast the spells. No one else can understand it but you because you've been touched by your patron. But at the same time, if you say it's a fine gilt-edged tome with spells of enchantment and illusion, very bread and butter, you know, by a lordly archfey who does things properly, and this is proper magic, maybe a wizard could copy out of it. There's nothing saying, though, that an archfey also couldn't give you a book full of pressed dried leaves from their magical forest, and that's what contains the spells, and so it's unreadable. It's up to you. Awesome, so we have... we pretty much have a character here. We're spellcasting as a warlock. We have charisma, we're gonna get to that here. We're going to know 4 cantrips, so I'm gonna label that real quick. 2, 3, and 4. And we have 3 level 5 spell slots. Nice and easy. Spells known. So we have level 1. We know 2. And then we get our 3rd. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then you'll notice our spells known go up here in Mystic Arcanum, but they're not traditional spells. They don't consume slots. We lock in a 6th, 7th, and 8th level spell as our Mystic Arcanum that we get once for free each day. So, I mean, in this sense, if you want to put 1, because we'll never get these higher spell slots, you know, or we could put like 1 per long rest. 1/LR. 1/LR. For a Mystic Arcanum, for a 6th, 7th, and 8th level spell. So that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is Mystic Arcanum 11, 13, and 15. Fallon, I would agree. I would definitely agree. Legion, welcome. Thank you for joining our workshop. Hey, have a seat. And if you have any questions or about the workshop content or things in general, you're welcome to ask. This is an open discussion. I may be presenting some content, but it's all about us and spending time together. Not necessarily. I mean, a great old one might not like someone poking around into their secrets who don't share a pact. And what would keep the great old one from just obliterating someone for as a security measure? Now, that said, the great old one might not know or care because it spreads the madness or something. Or that's your hook into having someone multi-class into, multi-class into Warlock or something. But yeah, it could absolutely run the gamut of, nothing to some sort of a curse or to just obliteration of the self and soul. All right, now it is time to drop the stats into our character because we've built a character first. And I like emphasizing that. The stats don't matter. At least when we're doing these exercises. I want to know who this person is. What's his story? Where did he come from? Why does he make the decisions that he makes? What is in his heart of hearts? And once we have that, the stats will work out. Now, because we do get these, like the cooking utensils, brewer supplies, and all that, as a way to get the bonuses, I mean, you might say, well, look, it's just 2 utensils. At the same time, the role of a cook has a lot of unspoken benefits that you don't need to get as a feature. Because you can do a lot of stuff, and especially, this is the perfect character for a cook to be, honestly. For the fact of, you know, his class and his goals, being the cook is unlimited power to him. It's wonderful. But anyway, because it does suggest cooks have a high constitution, we're going to give him the highest score of the standard array, because we want to be consistent. I'm not going to favor folks. Exactly, Grim. Painting dwarves, really getting the D&D of late? Oh, Legion, well, welcome aboard. I'm glad. And please, you know, continue painting. You can listen to this program in the background. And, I mean, what you're going to miss me making hand gestures or filling out a PDF. I'm very glad that the inspiration has hit you. And if you do have the time from your painting to discuss, like, what led you into the hobby, or what do you really like, or if you have questions, you know that you can ask them here. Let's see. I'm kind of digging. If we go 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8 wisdom. So he's not the smartest because his patron, his patron gives him all his ideas. And if he needs something, if he needs to know something, he's just going to tickle someone's brain for the information. And in fact, that's what makes him such an excellent servant, is he doesn't know enough to ask questions. So if we do this, his wisdom goes to 9. His dexterity goes to 14. And now we get 6 points to throw into things here. I think our charisma is fine where it is. We don't need a high charisma for this character. I would say that we could put 1 in constitution, 1 in strength, and then the decision comes down to dex or strength. Well, he has daggers, the meat cleaver, and talons, and most martial weapons are based off of strength as well. So I would say he would be a 16 strength, 14 dex, 16 con, he's very hardy, 10 int, 9 wisdom, 14 charisma warlock. Yeah, and you know what? For this kind of build, having a low charisma is absolutely fine. He doesn't necessarily have to cast a lot of spells, or a lot of spells that require saves or to hit. A lot of his spells are going to be just static bonuses of some kind. Or mobility spells, or a skill enhancement, where there's really no rolls that are necessary. So he really does want to present, the way he's built, he would be a very charismatic knight. He'd be almost like a paladin. In fact, in many ways, blade warlocks and paladins are pretty close. And by the way, I'm sorry, thank you, Legion, for that follow. Welcome to the community. So with this, we have a 3 and a 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. Very physical here. We're just going to copy this -1 down here. And his saving throws are 4. right? Because he has all these spells and invocations to do the work for him. He is definitely a lazy warlock. He has people to do this stuff. And in fact, his retainers are probably going to help make up for this. Because he'll probably have a retainer that has a higher intelligence, a retainer that has a higher wisdom, and a retainer that, I don't know, could be another fellow combatant or something. Doing all the learnings. One of my friends started GMing the 40k D&D Black Crusade, and I tagged along, and then I found D&D, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Well, that's great. You know, I've not gotten to run or play in Black Crusade. I ran Dark Heresy for years, and also Rogue Trader, but I didn't get into only War or Black Crusade. But it's cool that you started there, and it definitely, if you're already in the mood for orcs and all, and battle and all that, you know, D&D is a good standby, good default, or something that you'll probably eventually find yourself playing. And just the imagination and the creation and everything it allows you to do is wonderful. So, I mean, you are welcome, even as a new player. New players are absolutely welcome here. You know, we won't make fun of your questions. We're not going to be like, oh, you're the FNG, and we're just going to make fun of you. That is absolutely not the case. If you do want to join us on Discord, especially if you like painting and you want to show off your work, or even take commissions from people, you can do so. You can find inspiration on that channel if you need help painting, or, you know, you want to get an idea. We also have a mentor network. So if you want to step up and be a mentor, or if you ever want to use the mentor network for help, you can do so as well. All I ask is that, you know, it stays no worse than PG-13, and, you know, make sure that your Discord name matches your Twitch handle to make communication easier. And I do prefer keeping swearing to a minimal. You know, even PG-13 allows the one F-bomb in a movie, and I understand that, I get that. Or something goes wrong, or people say, oh man, I was just rolling so shitty tonight. That's not going to end the world. It doesn't personally offend me, but just for purposes of presentation on the channel, I try and keep it that way. Alright, so with this, his talons are going to be a +8 to hit. The light crossbow is going to be a +7 to hit. The meat cleaver is going to be, oh, that's a hand axe. We're using strength +8. And the daggers, we could use dex, but why when we can just use strength? 3, 3, 2, 3. If we're attacking with our spells, that's charisma. That's a +7 to hit, and to resist our effects, you need a 15. Strong Harm. I'm getting ready to pay $50 a month for a long campaign. I'm sick of people not showing up or quitting. I have noticed that there has been a trend because Strong consistency is the final boss of Dungeons and Dragons. It very much can be. And I've been very fortunate in my own personal games to have, you know, year and a half long consistent campaigns. And even the one that we run on the channel on Tuesdays has been going on for almost a year now. It's been a fun developing storyline. And for many people, I understand that that is a very difficult thing to get with other players or even a DM that's flighty or inconsistent. And so, I mean, I would wish that you wouldn't necessarily have to come to a point where that seems like your only option, as it probably feels frustrating. At the same time, I totally understand you're doing it, and if you can find a consistent game, and you know you can meet the price, and that person is going to show up and present, and will give you the content, the service that you're paying for, and everyone wins. Shukan, you're saying that crossbows don't gain damage from dex? Strong. Oh yeah, I started playing in the '90s, and I've been looking for good campaigns since. They can be rare. I mean, if you don't have a local game store or a library or sort of like a club or something along those lines, it very much can be that way. Yeah, if there's an Adventurers League at your local place, look into that. Because, I mean, the people might come and go, but at least it's a consistent presentation. At my store, I run every Thursday. Well, we're in Tomb of Annihilation currently. So it's not quite Adventurers League, but every Thursday I go to my store, I crack open the book, and whoever shows up, we continue running through the content. Grimvex got a great background story and character fleshed out, but I'm stuck on choosing the class for this one. Well, Grim, if you want to throw that out there, you're welcome to do so. Shukan, I'm not seeing something that's backing that up. I mean, I could still be wrong, but I'm not seeing where. Oh wow, you're paying some custodes, man, Legion. I'll be sure to take a look at it here in just a second. All right. Well, to continue here, your initiative is a Dex check, so it's a +2, nice and easy. Armor class. Well, if we have our Armor of Shadows, that's 13 plus Dex, so that's a 15. Yes, Dex should be added. I mean, I'm open-minded in case I miss something, but you know, if that's the case, make sure that you can reference something. But yeah, there's nothing necessarily that would say that you do not get your modifier, at least in 5th ed. In other editions, I believe that might have been the case. Passive perception is a 9, because passive perception is 10 plus your perception modifier to indicate your natural awareness of things going on around you. In this case, our perception modifier is -1, so ta-da! Our Aarakocra Knight has earned a name. He's no longer a pile of stats. And so if you have a suggestion for our male Aarakocra, Goo-Blade Warlock, who is a knight, I'll have you know, please leave some suggestions as I calculate hit points. At level 1, you get your full... Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Warlocks are D8 hit die class. So we have 15 D8 hit dice for natural recovery in between, as we rest. So we're going to get 8 at level 1. Then for our remaining 14 levels of our 15, half plus 1 of that is 5. Then for all 15 levels, we get bonus hit points equal to our Constitution modifier. And so here we have, and look at that, an extra 45 points. Nice. Then we're going to get 70 points there. So this becomes 115. This is going to be 123 hit points at level 15. And of course we can go back and we can make the retainers in an NPC workshop probably tomorrow night or something. That's fine. And we can go through, and if you ever want to go and pick at the spells, I make the content we produce on the channel available on Discord, so you can download the character sheets, play with them, use them as a PC or an NPC or whatever, or a villain or whatever you'd like. Hey TJ, it's been a minute. I hope you've been well. Polly. Well, hey, if it's anything you want to vent about or get some input on, not that you have to talk about personal stuff, TJ, but you know that we're a good supportive community for that. The alignment neutral. Or some people say true neutral. As I've discussed at length, my most recent character in D&D was a lawful good drow. The campaign storyline ended on Tuesday night in the most beautiful way. Oh, we're in for a story. Sure. In fact, I'll tell you what, TJ, if you want a minute to type to share your beautiful end of campaign story, I need to get up and take a short break. And so everyone out there, if you got to get a drink or a snack or something, we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, then we can go through TJ stuff and I can show off the pictures that you all have been sharing. Oh, you drop it in Discord? Sure. Share it in Tales from the Tabletop then.